Today we got a lot of NFL news, and I'm going to just start it off. A lot of the old whites are getting a little upset, Nick. They're getting a little upset. I'm going to say it because I'm not an old white yet, and when I do become an old white, I'm going to change that stigma of old whites, hopefully. But these old whites are back at it again. Jawan James plays for the Broncos, just got released due to an injury he received in the offseason. And this, Nick, is going to get messy. I think you're seeing some of the players are getting a little more control, especially with social media, and they're able to say their side of the story. So you don't have these teams coming out and saying, oh, they're entitled, blah, blah, blah. And here's a guy preparing for the season, training, working out, and happened to tear his Achilles. And the Broncos said, hey, it's been a tough year for cap space and stuff like that. We're going to cut you, and I apologize, but you didn't get hurt at the facility. We're not going to pay you as well. So that's definitely got eyes turned to that situation all around the NFL because, it's just a matter of time before it starts happening to other players. And here's the most interesting thing I saw, Nick, is only 34% of players show up to, the early training camp, things like that.
Wow, yeah.
So it's not a ton. And I got that from some source, I believe. And so you have like 60 something percent of guys not showing up to those early training things because one, they spend a lot of time during the season and they want to take time to rest, recover, work with their own personal trainers in a safe environment because they're saying when you go to the weight room at the facility, it's not always the safest environment to be training for your sport. So yeah, crazy with what's going on over with Jawan, and hopefully he comes out of this, on the right side. But yeah, I think you're seeing a lot of ownership trying to take back that control. And you know what? It really shouldn't even be about ownership, and it shouldn't even be about the players. It should be about the fans, okay? But this situation is about the owners, and it's about the players. So here's what I say. Here's my take on it. Pay the man or work with him to come up with a solution that works for both teams. But also, you can't expect these guys to stay in shape during the offseason if when they get injured, they're just going to get cut and not paid their $10 million or whatever they have.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think this is a situation. You know how it goes. You're gonna have a weird split in the fan bases when you have a situation like this, right? Like you said, you're gonna have a lot of the more grumpy or cranky, I believe is how they refer to those people. I believe those people, they're gonna say, well, of course you gotta cut him, and they'll probably make some odd argument where I find these are situations where sometimes people will make an argument that's it's not exactly like they're going to try to say that, well, in my job, if I got hurt, and they'll try to find like something that they think is equivalent. But a lot of times you get false equivalency type arguments in situations like this because it is such a unique situation. Like if you're somebody, let's say, for example, you're a carpenter, right? Or you're in that sort of construction world, and maybe you're working on a side job and you get hurt. It's not the same thing, man. It's not the same thing because it's this guy is working specifically in the off season to help his team, like himself, which then helps his team. And there's just not a lot of comparable stuff, right? I think it's one of those things like if you get you're not getting injured at a sales conference trying to become a better salesman. So it's like it's not going to be relevant. You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh, maybe your pride.
Maybe. And if you did, you would probably be looking like, look, I was at this conference trying to get better to help my company. Why is my company not looking out for me? So I just think that sometimes like people will make the wrong argument in this situation and find themselves, I agree with you 100%, on the wrong side of it. I don't think it's a very intelligent argument to say don't pay the guy. Like, let's do the right thing. I think that's always what the NFL should be looking to do, especially when you have a league where these teams make, I believe the last stat I saw was in 2019, they made, the average team made $15 billion in revenue. So it's like
revenue.
It's like, what was this kid's bonus? Like $10 million? Like, just do the right thing. Like, just do the right thing.
Sure. And here's the other aspect to that coin. When you're not doing the right thing, we're living in an era that people notice that. You the Denver Broncos, if it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out, but if they stick to their guns, if I'm a free agent, I don't want to go play for Denver. What what's
Definitely
my
not.
incentive to go play for
Yep.
them? You know, because I don't think that organization is going to have my back. And you may not think at the end of the day, Denver, that this isn't going to have repercussions down the road, but I'm sorry to say it, you're going to be bad for the next 5 to 10 years, maybe the next 100. I'm going to put a curse on them right now unless they do the right thing. I'm giving them the opportunity, but other than that, you're going to turn into the Chicago Cubs for 100 years. I'm sorry, Denver. I hate it had to be you, but you know what? We need more good people in this world. And
there you go. Hopefully they do the right thing.